Arches National Park is full of beautiful scenery and amazing trails, but there's one trail that most people pass by without even knowing it. The fiery furnace is tucked away in a collection of sandstone fins. These fins create slots, hidden arches, and all-around epic views. But it's not as simple as just finding the trailhead and hiking. This trail takes preparation, plus you'll have to get a permit. So in this episode, I'll walk you through the permit process, I'll tell you how to prepare for the trail, and I'll let you know what to expect when you hike the fiery furnace. Arches National Park has several impressive landmarks, but there's one that many people overlook. 14 miles into the Arches Scenic Drive, there's a small viewpoint for the fiery furnace. The fiery furnace is a collection of orange-hued sandstone fins, and it was named for the red glow that it gets during sunset. When the light is right, the fins look like they're on fire. While the viewpoint is nice, adventurous souls can step into the fiery furnace and get a closer look. The furnace has a unique beauty. Spires and boulders are scattered through small slots, while arches are hidden behind walls and tucked away on the top of cliffs. Of course, the best part about hiking the fiery furnace is that very few hikers step foot on this trail each day. And that is by design, because the fiery furnace requires a permit. So how do you get a permit? Well, I've got good news and bad news. The good news is these permits don't go through a lottery system. The bad news is that they're very limited, and they're pretty tough to get. But here's everything you need to know so you'll have the best chance to snag one. First, to get a permit, you have to get a permit reservation. Permit reservations go through rec.gov and the rec.gov app. These reservations are released 7 days before the trip, so if you want to hike on April 20th, the permit reservation will be released through rec.gov on April 13th. So you need to be on rec.gov or in the app on April 13th at 8 a.m. Mountain Time. This will give you the best chance to get a permit. A little more than 100 permits are normally available for each day. That might sound like a lot, but it's not. Also, the National Park Service states you can reserve your permits 2 to 7 days in advance. While this is technically true, it doesn't really play out that way. All of these permit reservations are normally claimed within minutes of becoming available. So again, don't drag your feet, especially in peak season. You need to be locked and loaded at 8 a.m. on rec.gov to get these permits. If you don't get one, rec.gov has a notification option, so the website will let you know when someone else cancels. But cancellations are rare, and other people will be using this same feature. But if you act quickly, you might get lucky. When you're booking your permit reservation, there are two types of fiery furnace tours to choose from. First, ranger-led tours are a hot commodity. These spots are very limited and they sell out almost immediately after they become available. But if you get one, you'll learn a ton about the park and the furnace. Ranger-led tours cost $16 per person and they normally take 2.5 hours. You can also book a self-guided tour. Self-guided tours cost $10 per person, and 75 self-guided permits are available each day. Once you get a permit reservation, you'll want to keep an eye on the weather. If there's snow on the ground, the park will close the fiery furnace. The park will also close the trail if flash flooding is a legitimate possibility. If the trail is closed, all of your fees will be refunded, but you'll have to start the permit process again, which is not ideal. As a quick point, there are a few basic rules to keep in mind before you book a tour. There's no camping in the fiery furnace, no pets are allowed, no children under the age of 5 are allowed, and adults have to accompany children 12 and under. You will have to pick up your permits in person at the visitor center. You can do this the day before your hike or the day of your hike. I like to do it the day before to get it out of the way. If you booked a self-guided tour, you will have to do an orientation before you pick up your permit. The orientation is quick. It includes a short video, then a ranger will ask a few questions. Then you will be issued a physical permit. You can do the orientation the day before your hike or the day of your hike, but the visitor center starts their final orientation at 3:30 p.m., so keep that in mind. With permits secured, the next step is to prepare for the trail, and there are really 4 things you should know. First, Arches National Park sits in the high desert. This means the park is subject to high temperature swings throughout the year. It's common for temperatures to reach more than 100 degrees in the summer. You need to make sure you have plenty of water when you step into the furnace, because you won't find any water on the trail. If you need to get drinking water, there are two places in the park to fill up: the Arches Visitor Center near the entrance and the Devil's Garden. Temperature swings can go both ways, especially in the fall and spring. Obviously, you'll need sun protection in the summer, like long sleeves, hats, and sunglasses. But a lot of the fiery furnace feels like a labyrinth, with tall walls and narrow passages. This means you'll be in the shade a lot, so it can get chilly in the fall, spring, and winter. I recommend packing an extra layer just in case. Also, make sure you have sturdy hiking footwear, because the terrain is rough and uneven. The fiery furnace isn't your average hike, so you might need to do a little mental preparation. The terrain is rough and there are several hazards along the trail. You'll have to climb boulders and squeeze through narrow corridors. You'll also have to use some route finding skills, because the trail isn't well marked. There are a few arrows, but they're tough to spot. This makes the fiery furnace a little tougher than normal trails, and some people that we passed on trail were visibly frustrated. I love this trail and you probably will too. Just be ready for a few challenges along the way, because it's not always as simple as walking from point A to point B. During peak season, timed entry is one of the toughest challenges when it comes to Arches National Park. Timed entry means you have to get a reservation to enter the park between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. Reservations are limited, so it can add a little suspense to your trip. But there is good news. If you have a permit for the fiery furnace, you won't need a timed entry reservation. You'll still have to wait in line at the entrance, so I recommend getting there early, but the permit will grant you access to the park for the entire day. Next, I'm going to show you what to expect when you're hiking the fiery furnace. But first, if you're getting value from this video, give it a like and leave a comment. It's a small thing you can do to help the channel grow. And if you want to support the channel even more, you can check out our Arches National Park travel guide. This guide has trail summaries, timed entry walkthroughs, arch locations, restaurant recommendations, and much more. Plus, it has itineraries to help you plan an amazing trip. You can check out our Arches National Park travel guide at the link in the description. With preparations in order, it's time to have some fun. To get to the trailhead, you'll just need to go through the entrance and drive 14 miles. I prefer arriving early so I don't have to deal with traffic. There are less people on the trail in the morning, plus the light is better early in the morning. So the photographer in me always wants to get to the trail as early as possible. The fiery furnace isn't a long trail in regards to distance. It's only a couple miles long with a few hundred feet of elevation gain. But constant climbing and route finding can make it take longer. The trail follows a loop, but it's easy to get turned around once you get into the fiery furnace. GPS apps are hit and miss, so make sure you have the trail downloaded before you get into the furnace. We started on the north side of the trailhead and followed the path clockwise. Our first landmark was Surprise Arch. This one was hidden down a narrow corridor, but the staircase gives away the location. Surprise Arch was discovered in 1963, when two park officials were scouting the fiery furnace. They rounded a corner to be surprised by a previously undiscovered arch. So Surprise Arch was added to the list of arches. Heading back to the main trail, we worked our way further into the fiery furnace. This is when we had to start squeezing through openings and carefully climbing down slick rock. There's nothing really dangerous on this trail, but you'll want to watch your footing. Our next stop was the oddly but appropriately named Kissing Turtle Arch. This one sits up on a cliff on the west side of the trail. After another 1/10 of a mile, we reached a side trail that was marked as a dead end. The #1 rule when you're hiking the fiery furnace is to always explore the dead ends. They always have something good. In this case, it was Skull Arch. Just like Kissing Turtle Arch, this one sits up in the cliffs. Near the junction for Skull Arch, we found a path leading to Inner Sanctum Arch. This one required crawling under a boulder to reach the opening, but you can see the arch without crawling. Once we got back onto the main trail, we hiked another 1/4 of a mile, until we found another side trail that was marked as a dead end. This one had a little natural bridge with a small pothole arch behind it. And it was the last of the major landmarks. Of course, visitors have tried to name all of these landmarks, but I recommend that you don't get caught up in the names. Just have fun exploring the fiery furnace.